Thanks for coming on NewsWire. And I guess, anticipation for this sort of week is important because one of the bigger companies gives access to some of their financial dealings, and that's Flutter, who owns FanDuel. Thanks again for coming on the show. I guess is that the bigger story of the week?
Yeah, every time that you can hear from the company who is either one or two, and they announced today they are one in sports betting in the US, you got to pay attention, Craig. And FanDuel is interesting because we knew they gave us an update back in March that only left the last 2 weeks of March up in the air, and we didn't know what their results were going to look like because they gave through March 17th, results were pretty strong. Well, that last 2 weeks in March, obviously March Madness, all customer-friendly results. So that actually hit them $76 million worth, just that 2 weeks. But they still wound up being positive on the quarter. That's great. It was a $79 million improvement from the first quarter of last year to this year. And that's what you want to see with a company like Flutter, because Flutter is still, they're still acquiring customers at the highest clip in the industry, it seems like. Flutter is going to keep bringing customers on board as long as it stays profitable to them in their return guidelines. And that means as long as customers are basically paying back what it costs to acquire them within 2 years, FanDuel is going to go out and acquire those customers. And those economics have been the same for a while now. And so they're still churning. So to see them still spending in old states, spending big in new states, they had a great launch in North Carolina where they say they took the highest handle. We don't get operator-specific data from North Carolina, so we can't say exactly what that is, and FanDuel didn't break it out either. But they say they're leading in North Carolina. 1 in 20 adults in North Carolina are now FanDuel customers within a 45-day period at the end of March 31st. That's pretty impressive, too. So to see that FanDuel is gaining the kind of scale that it is, still seeing a lot of costs going out to acquire customers, but hitting that positive EBITDA mark and being able to survive a $76 million swing in sports betting results, that's all very positive for the sports betting market in general. Now, is it positive for bettors? That's a little hard to say because FanDuel is obviously doing this by putting more parlays out there and improving that product. We didn't get a whole lot of information on current trading right now for April and May, but we did hear that for its MLB product, FanDuel started to unroll some new, deeper products for MLB at the beginning of the season. And that has improved the mix of same-game parlay, and in terms of total handle, it's up 4 percentage points compared to last year over the first 3 weeks of the season. So we see that what FanDuel is doing here to deepen its products, to give people more options, we see that it's working, that it's paying off, and that they are able to get to a scale when even when you have a huge hit like March Madness or the Super Bowl or something like that, they're going to be able to withstand it. They're going to be able to show earnings for their shareholders, which is the most important thing to them, right? So FanDuel is doing very well. Flutter, as an entire company, is doing very well. They have a massive international business as well. But the prospects for FanDuel look great right now. They said that they are first in sports betting, they are first in iGaming, and they plan to keep spending to get those customers that are going to keep them at those leadership levels.
Yeah, more parlays, it sounds like. That's what we need around here.
Basically.
More parlays. Same game 5-player parlay. Yeah, it sounds like a winner to me. Anyway. Okay, now let's move over so that was the bright side of sports betting. Maybe this is not so much, but not surprising here, I guess. Maybe from a technology point of view, I did not expect to read this story over on Legal Sports Report about ESPN Bet. And in terms of some of the technology, as far as how they're being run, not ranked particularly high, especially among sportsbooks that are run by a company called Kambi that's extremely popular and by all accounts doing very well. So let's dive into this. What's going on here?
Yeah, so a little bit of background on this, Craig. If you remember Penn last year, when they were still partnered with Barstool, they migrated their tech from Kambi, a third-party tech supplier, to their own in-house tech over the MLB All-Star break. And they said that this was going just to be overall better in the long run for Penn and Barstool at the time. They then shifted not too long after that to ESPN Bet, and they kind of restarted the whole process here. And we have Eilers and Krejcik. They are a analysis firm in the gaming industry that they do a fantastic job. The research is very expensive to get your hands on, but it's worth it. And they have a team of testers that look at all of the apps, and this was their first half rankings. And ESPN Bet came in at number 11th. And that's kind of a kick in the rear when you consider that BetRivers at number 8 uses Kambi, and BetJack, it's a localized Ohio brand on Kambi. They both performed better than ESPN Bet. That is not great for Penn Entertainment right now. More not great news has come out. They've been downgraded to neutral instead of buy from Bank of America today based on ESPN Bet and how it is dragging down the earnings of the overall company. Penn has a fantastic retail casino business across the U.S. These regional casinos do great business for them, but the overhang for years now has been sports betting and their interactive investments. And there's just no we don't see that ending for ESPN Bet right now. They're going to have to invest more to get more customers to hit those marks that Disney wants to see to keep the partnership going. And I thought it was telling this morning from FanDuel CEO, Flutter CEO Peter Jackson, talking about the promotional activity in the US and whether it's rational or people are outspending. And he said, quote, "We're not seeing people spend ridiculous amounts of money trying to persuade customers to try out a product which isn't very good." That felt pretty targeted at ESPN Bet. And so we're just going to have to see what Penn does moving forward to get ESPN Bet up to speed. We know that they're working on parlays. We know that they want that parlay product to be deeper overall. They feel like that's where they're losing out the customers because CEO Jay Snowden of Penn Entertainment is saying, the customers are there. We're just not getting enough of their wallet share. We're just not doing this or doing that. And at the end of the day, he's putting it all on better parlay depth to get the product similar to what DraftKings and FanDuel have, and also getting the integration working with the ESPN app and seeing what that can do there. Because remember, we've seen surveys showing that people that frequent the ESPN app would switch to ESPN Bet as their primary sportsbook if they can get that integration correct. So, a lot of moving parts still, but not a great look for Penn right now.
No, and again, things will change, and certainly the hope is that they are early on in this process and can get better as it goes. A lot of success, by the way, as BetRivers has previously reported. They are not in every state, but one of the states that they are exclusively in is Delaware, and they're looking for more exclusivity. Is that what's happening here, Matt?
What's happening, Craig, is the Delaware legislature is proposing opening up the market right after BetRivers signed an exclusive agreement. So they are emailing customers. They are emailing customers saying, reach out to your legislators. And Craig, I don't know if this was approved or not, but I live in Delaware. I live in Dover. And I saw a gray sedan with 2 BetRivers t-shirts strung up in the back, held up by the window. I don't know if that's official or not, but they're doing what they can do to get the brand name out there.
Understood. Great stuff, Matthew. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.